Hey, what's up, everybody? Got the glasses on. It's time for Reading with Rob, and I'm overdue for this book. So, if you recall, an author, Peter Pomerantsev, I reviewed a book of his that was called Nothing is True and Everything is Possible a few weeks ago. And I really just fell in love with Peter's writing. And that was his previous book to this one. This one is called This Is Not Propaganda. And it came out in 2019. And I knew after I read his first book, I had to read this one as well. I'm just in love with Peter's writing. Peter, for those of you who don't remember or didn't see the first one, he is of Russian descent. He was born in Russia. His parents immigrated during the 80s, I believe, to London. And his father worked for the BBC, various radio and television companies. And Peter himself worked in worked in television, moved back to Russia in the heyday of television there before Putin clamped down on the media there so tightly. And so that's where the basis of everything is possible, nothing is real and everything is possible was written. This Is Not Propaganda was written after that, as I said, in 2019. It's an even more superior book, possibly because of the subject matter. For me, I found fascinating. I don't know if you can see here, but I underlined all throughout it. I'm gonna have to read it again because it's one of those books where I think your mind is just getting blown every couple of pages or so, and you're just like, I need to retain this. I need to understand this. A lot of you guys have been following me, since my journey, since the full invasion of Ukraine. I have been really honed in on Russian disinformation campaigns and propaganda, which of course is not new, but it is new on steroids now because of social media. So in 2019, when Peter wrote this book, of course, was the first Trump presidency, which social media had a huge impact in doing. Russian disinformation, they say it didn't have an impact. I don't know how you can quantify that. I never did. It felt like they were trying to sell us the fact that this election is legit. And back when we thought elections were just legit and everybody just said, okay, let's follow along. It's a democracy, blah, 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 pre-January 6th. When if you didn't like the results of the election, you tried to execute a coup. So this was pre-then. And even then, though, I was like, listen, I saw the propaganda on social media, but it wasn't really on my radar until I would say COVID hit. And that's when I saw the power of disinformation. I started putting two and two together, and I started thinking about some of my conversations with people that I knew from Russia and how a lot of what was being repeated down the road, down the loop, matched what they were saying. And as I dug into it more, Russia is, I would say, the home of conspiracy. It is ground zero for conspiracy. And Peter backs that up in this book. But what Peter does, besides giving you kind of have this sense that something's wrong. If you've seen your Facebook feed lately, you're like, what's going on with my feed, man? It happened, of course, with Twitter when Musk bought Twitter. All these bots started following me, and you're just like, man, things are changing. The algorithms are changing. I see it on Instagram, also a Meta project. And now we know that Trump has won his third attempt at an election, and he won this one, and is now in office for the second time, that the tech overlords are down with the messaging that he's trying to get across. But it's not just Trump at all. It's a bigger set of circumstances at play. And that's what Peter gets into here. A lot of it is emanating from Russia. Russia is the home, as I said, of conspiracy. It's also the home of disinformation, troll farms, bot farms, any authoritarian or anyone with authoritarian leanings, such as Bukele in El Salvador, Duterte when he was in power in the Philippines, Maduro in Venezuela, anyone with those type of leanings, Trump in the U.S., of course, Putin in Russia, will employ bot farms and troll farms to send out the impression that they're more popular than they are, and also to tamp down on criticism. And the ultimate goal of propaganda is to demoralize the opposition. And in Russia, they've done a great job of it. And what they've done is they've made liberalism, which is basically a Western philosophy, a dirty word, by demonizing it. And so they're trying to do the same thing in the Western world. And you can see it. And so this, as I said, was put out in 2019. Here we are, fast forward to 2025. Things are on steroids. Every American needs to read this book. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're. I don't care, man, about your politics, yo. I don't care about your politics, right? I care about your morality. That's all I care about. Do you care about facts? Do you want the right information? Do you want to make decisions based on factual information? Or do you want to believe a lie because it feels good? Those are the decisions that I care about. If you want to believe a lie because it feels good, and there's a surprising amount of people who do, and he talks about it in this book, it's human psychology, would rather believe the lie than to face the truth, because the truth is hard to get to it, to find out, to face it. But I want the truth. I've always wanted the truth. That's why I wanted to travel. I wanted to see things for myself. I didn't want to turn away from poor people in poverty. I wanted to see it. And as I saw it and I got to know it, there was less to fear. The unknown is what's fearful. And so some people can't do it, I guess, or they haven't learned to do it. And they turn to conspiracy and just wild stuff. And the wild stuff that's going on right now in this crazy world at this moment that feels upside down is upside down. And it's a lot of this because of what's covered in this book. And as you read it, you're just going to have aha moments all the time. It's an easy read. It's not hard. So what I said about getting through a couple of pages is not because it's dense, tough to understand information. It's because it's so easy to understand. You're going to have so many aha moments that you're going to want to stop along the way and write them down and think about them. And that's what I tried to do. But this is one of those rare books I'm going to read again and again in reference and not letting it go. This is not propaganda. Peter Pomerantsev, the book that he wrote before, Nothing is True and Everything is Possible. I hope I didn't mispronounce all that. I hope I didn't mispronounce Peter's last name. If I did, sorry, Peter. You're a damn good writer, dude. I love what you're doing. I love the work you're doing. And this is something that, Putin, Trump, people don't want you to read it. You need to figure out, do you want to read it? Why would you not want to read it? What are you afraid of that you wouldn't want to read this book? Would you rather scroll TikTok, X, Instagram, fight about what you think you know? Or do you really want to know? And that's the question. If you really want to know, you'll get this book.